This is an unbelievable story. I know that you get that a lot in the Trump era, but it's still shocking. And it's quite unbelievable, but you should believe it. The reason is this is one of the best sourced articles that I've seen in a while. It's in the Washington Post. They had 11 different sources. Mitch McConnell and other Republican leaders were in the room when Trump made these comments. And so apparently there was a lot of congressional leaders and they all confirmed. And at the end, there's a kind of a tacit admission from the Trump team about it too. So what's the story? Well, Washington Post starts explaining by saying this. For nearly 8 months, President Trump has boasted that appointing Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court ranks high among his signature achievements. But earlier this year, Trump talked about rescinding Gorsuch's nomination, venting angrily to advisors after the Supreme Court pick, was critical of the president's escalating attacks on the federal judiciary in private meetings with legislators. What? No, really? After he nominated him, because Gorsuch wasn't quote unquote loyal enough to him, as you're gonna see, he thought about rescinding it. Wow. Just when you thought he couldn't get any worse or any more childish. Let's get more details. Trump, according to several people with knowledge of the discussions, was upset that Gorsuch had pointedly distanced himself from the president in a private February meeting with Senator Richard Blumenthal, telling the senator that he found Trump's repeated attacks on the federal judiciary, quote, disheartening and demoralizing. And Trump apparently lost it over that. But wait a minute, you knucklehead. This Supreme Court justices are supposed to be separate from the executive branch. So when they go to their process of getting confirmed, that's literally the first thing that they say, oh, I'm independent of the executive branch. I'm independent of the guys who appointed me. I'm independent of politics. So that is what Gorsuch is doing in order to get on the bench. I don't even really believe him, but of course he's gonna say that. He'd be incredibly stupid not to say that. That would be the only thing you could say pretty much that would block your confirmation. In fact, the very first question asked was from a Republican, Chuck Grassley, in his hearings, public hearings. And he said, hey, are you independent of the president? And Gorsuch started by saying, Senator, that's a softball. Of course I am. But Trump is so stupid, he doesn't know that. So he's like, what do you mean you're independent of me? How dare you say that? Oh God, you're so stupid. If he hadn't said that, he wouldn't get confirmed. All right, more details from the story. The president worried that Gorsuch would not be, quote, loyal, one of the people said, and told aides that he was tempted to pull Gorsuch's nomination and that he knew plenty of other judges who would want the job. Okay. It's not how the Supreme Court works. Yeah, I know Bobby down the street. He did my tax work once. He's a lawyer. There's plenty of judges that want the job, and they'll be loyal to me, like my lawyers that also work for the mob. They're loyal to me. They're good guys. Maybe I'll get them on there. Remember when he was first asked, and I know that this also sounds unbelievable, but during the primaries, when he was first asked who he thinks would be a good Supreme Court nominee, he said Andrew Napolitano, the Fox News judicial analyst. This man is an utter buffoon. More. In a meeting with House Speaker Paul D. Ryan and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Trump attacked the judge in sharp terms, surprising his fellow Republicans. At this point, we shouldn't be surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. But I mean, he doesn't know anything. He doesn't know how the Supreme Court works at all, at all. You know more about the American government by an order of magnitude, 10 times more than what Trump, the president, knows. Remember when challenged during the campaign that he doesn't know really important things like the nuclear triad and other parts of being president, he said, oh, well, when I get in there, I'm gonna learn it's so good, it's gonna make your head spin. Does it look like he did a lot of homework and he learned it so good that it made our heads spin? Our heads are spinning, but for a different reason, I think. More from the Washington Post. The person added that he largely faults, that's another one of their sources, that he largely faults the White House for failing to adequately prepare Trump for Gorsuch's comments and to explain that Supreme Court nominees asserting their independence from the president who appointed them was a natural part of a successful confirmation process. In other words, they forgot to explain it to the man-child and forgot what an idiot he is, that you'd have to tell the president, now remember, okay, don't get upset, Donnie. He's gonna say that he's not gonna be 100% loyal to you. He's probably lying, But the point is that he's supposed to say that to get confirmed. Okay, man, child? Or, you better not say anything bad about me. Oh, John, what a pathetic mess of a guy. Okay. So he's goes off the handle here, thinking about pulling him. They have to like tie him down, make sure he doesn't pull the thing, because people would be livid, right? And he would lose his base. His base really liked it. Now he's bragging that I was on Gorsuch's side the whole time. I'm the one who picked him. Oh, he didn't even pick him. Anyway, but then Gorsuch winds up sending him a note. Apparently the note got there late. The reason why I don't believe that Gorsuch is independent of Trump is Gorsuch is basically an ass kisser. That's how he got the job in the first place. You have to remember the main thing about Gorsuch, the one thing that made him stand out and why corporate America picked him and handed him to Trump, is that in one case, he's been pro-corporate in almost every case, right? But in one case, he said a truck driver should freeze to death if his corporation asked him to, otherwise he should be fired. Every other judge, there was nearly a dozen judges that looked at that case up and down the judicial system in America, and they said, no, the guy doesn't have to freeze to death. And Gorsuch says, if a corporation says you freeze to death, you shut up and you freeze to death. That's who Gorsuch is. So you think he wasn't gonna kiss Trump's ass? He's been kissing ass his whole career. So it turns out he did send him a note, and the note said, this is to Trump, your address to Congress was magnificent. And you were so kind to recognize Mrs. Scalia and remember the justice, referring to Justice Scalia who had passed away, and to mention me. My teenage daughters were cheering the TV. Okay, I know they have to write pleasant notes to each other, and I know that you have to write stuff like that, otherwise Trump will get mad and throw fits and maybe end your career. Aides said Trump did not immediately receive the note, but it was retrieved by Legislative Affairs Director Mark Short and then viewed by Trump on March 10th, helping ease his concerns. So earlier in March, he's livid because he said one little thing against Trump, Gorsuch did, but it turns out he knew it and he had sent a note, oh my God, don't worry, I love you and I love your ass and I love everything about it. Believe me, I'll serve you, master. So then he gets the note and he's like, oh, okay, that's better. Now, Mark Short, that same guy who retrieved the note, pretty much admits it when he says, the process obviously caused frustration, but that frustration was compounded by the fact that Gorsuch had sent him a personal letter that he never received. In other words, yes, this story is entirely accurate. He threw a little fit, like the child that he is, and nearly pulled Gorsuch. But when he got the ass-kissing letter, he thought, oh, that's much better. Now he respects me. This guy is totally Joffrey. He just is. He's like a petulant child. And so this is what he was thinking of doing with the Supreme Court pick. God knows what else he would do and what kind of danger he poses to all of us. But don't say you weren't warned. The president is an unreal character with incredibly low IQ, paper-thin skin, complete narcissist, petulant, immature, and an absolute disaster. You just watched the video by the Young Turks, the home of the revolution. If you'd like to get the full show, come join us and become a member. tytnetwork.com/join.